You joined us for Rain of Blood, and together we made it rain bigger and better than we could have ever imagined. So now, join us for a second blazing inferno of knowledge and exploration. You're listening to Rain of Fire, the scorching sequel event to Rain of Blood, where we're going to delve into the world of fire play education and safety as we prepare for the upcoming Rain of Fire event. Join your host, Miss Kitten, Radically Dark, and xSolaris as we ignite your curiosity and stoke the flames of passion with discussions, interviews, and authentic insights from around the globe. Together, we're three flames united in one mission to make quality kink education more accessible and open pathways to conversation and connection about edgeplay topics around the world. But before we dive into these sizzling topics, a content warning. Rain of Fire discusses mature themes, explicit content, and practices related to BDSM and fireplay. So listener discretion is advised, and this is an adult-only podcast. Other topics may include mental health, trauma, consent, and more. So please be sure you're in a good spot to engage in these topics before continuing to listen. So, grab your fire gear, stoke the flames of curiosity, and let's embark on this crackling journey together. Welcome to Rain of Fire.
Hello and welcome, listeners, for another episode today. With me, I have a pair of fire lovers from the magical land of Idaho. So we've pulled a couple of gems from an unexpected space, which apparently actually has a good number of fire lovers. And they're here to tell us a little bit about their love of fire. Do you guys care to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Triptolemus, and this is Aftermoondelight.
I am Aftermoondelight. Nice to be here.
Lovely to have you guys. I'm so excited. So tell me a little bit. I know we had chatted just a little bit that you have started engaging in fire play fairly recently, within the last couple of years. What got you into fire play, got you interested, and what has that journey kind of looked like for you both?
Well, I started going to, I discovered the whole BDSM world around 2021 and started going to local parties. And there was a Halloween party at this fairly big place called the Sanctuary here. And somebody was doing fire play in their dungeon. And I had never seen or heard of anything like this. And I watched him, and this is a very experienced guy that's been doing this for years and years. And I watched him pour alcohol all over this woman's chest and light it with the arc of this violet wand toy. Mm-hmm. This like 2-inch arc to her nipple, and light her entire chest on fire and then put her out really quick with a blanket. And I was just like enthralled with this whole thing. I had no idea people lit other people on fire intentionally. I just blew my mind. And I was like, I got to know more about this. And so I watched any party I went to. If somebody was doing fire play, I was right there just watching. And it kind of seemed like something that other people did. It didn't seem like anything I would ever. It was just fascinating to watch. And then somebody announced a FetLife class. I reached out to somebody who knew her, and I said, "Hey, I kind of vetted this person. Oh yeah, she's great. He said she's the first person that's ever lit my dick on fire." I was like, "Oh wow, okay, all right."
Now I'm interested.
And he was like, "Yeah, she's great human, a great person." And so I signed up for the class, and I asked Aftermoondelight here if she'd like to take this class with me. I had no idea where it would go, what it would do, and it was a 5-week class. And a lot of the first couple of weeks was, making wands and safety, and a lot of the stuff in the background that now is kind of second nature. But we had to learn all of that first. And then we started, practicing on people. We had to bring a different bottom every week until we graduated. We had to do different skin types, different body types, different, we had to bring somebody different. Sometimes we had to bring 2 bottoms to a session. And it was 8 hours a day, every Saturday for 5 weeks. And we graduated in early March last year. Mm-hmm. And we started just doing fire, like local fire nights and things that used to be a thing here. They really haven't been lately, but and we, since they weren't really a thing anymore, they went for a couple months, and then the venue, changed, or somebody lost the venue, so it just wasn't happening. We got together with our teachers and said, "Hey, we want to just do this. Can we just like get together on Thursday nights or something and play with some fire? I really want to practice this, and so we started, gathering our own fire play gatherings every other Thursday night.
At our place.
Yeah, at her place, which we dubbed Moontower Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And so we bring different tops, different bottoms, different people that wanted to experience it, kind of keep it small, roughly 10 to 12 people at the most. We would do like dinner and hot tub time, and then we would all gather for a negotiation time, and then we would set off and do our fire play night. Mm-hmm. And we've just been having a blast with it. It's become a really intentional gathering, really kind of ritualistic and ceremonial. We do an opening circle, we pay tribute to the elements. We talk about, consent, and we talk about,
camera,
about photographs, whether that's, going to be a thing or not. That's always very respected. And we talk a lot about how this is very much about intimacy and vulnerability and trust and connection. And it's very sensual and erotic, but not necessarily sexual.
Yeah.
And sometimes that sexual energy can come out on the table, and this is a safe space for that to happen. It won't be exploited. It's not an invitation for more. It's not anything like that. Feel free to express that energy, and that's okay. This is a safer space for that. For some people that don't like the word safe, because nothing's really safe, but we're as safe as we can possibly be.
Yeah.
And as comfortable, and we want people to have a good experience with this and feel that connection, energy exchange, and all the things that are really important about it. It's not really about touching naked people. It's about connection, trust, being honored by that trust and that vulnerability.
And the intention, right? And so we have a conversation about intention. Like, we'll find out at this point with negotiations if they have fire, if they have, PTSD from a fire injury, or, any past trauma from these things. And then through that, we're able to find out that they really are, kind of really, heartbroken or sad about, something that is, deep seated in them. And somehow, just by making it kind of an intentional, safe space, and we see you, we understand you, I am me, I am you, we are we, we're able to have this connection with our bottoms that is just so beautiful and so raw and so just strong. Authentic. Like we can, it's about, my favorite thing is putting them into subspace, them being able to be in such a relaxed state when they're on the table, and we were putting fire on them and giving them the massage and just everything. It's just a beautiful thing, and I'm just very happy that Trip asked me to do fire play with them.
That's amazing. I resonate a lot with what you're bringing up here. Again, a lot of kink is very connected, but I feel like some certain edge play techniques tend to be a little bit more conducive to that. And fire is one of those. While, again, with my love of blood and sharps tends to be really healing. I think fire is another one of those elements that also has potential for healing, especially for me individually. I've lost loved ones to fire. I've had house fires and things. So I actually have a little bit of a fire phobia when it comes to fire outside, but learning how to manipulate fire and spin fire in particular, I think if one of the biggest things that people will see is my fire floggers. Those are typically the things that people remember about my fire play. That makes me feel powerful, like I'm in control of this thing. It has changed my relationship with the fire, with the thing that has caused me so much pain and grief, in a way that has been very healing. And then also where it may have torn bonds previously creates a bridge for folks to connect and understand one another with. And again, I think while it has the power to destroy or to harm, it also really does have that rebirth, regeneration potential as we work through it.
Yeah, I've had my stepmother actually died in a fire. Her nightgown caught fire on the stove, and she died a few days later in the hospital. And you know, it hasn't really. I hadn't really given much thought to, you know, fire trauma or fire causing, you know, pain in my life. But it has always kind of been something to be a little bit feared. I mean, I'm always a little bit scared of it. I don't think I don't.
It's respect.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little bit scared of it to do this. I think if you're not scared of it, get cocky and people get hurt. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I'll just go with that.
Yeah, that's just my thing. I think about it is, you know, I always have a little bit of fear and trepidation going into it. And I also have the confidence of my safety person and connection that we have, and, you know, the skills that I've developed. I'm very meticulous, very careful, very sober, you know, you know, very safer.
As much risk reduction as you can.
Right.
And yeah, I think many people would very likely, again, because we don't typically talk about fire trauma, I feel like fire trauma is the almost equivalent of a history of self-harm for sharps and blood-based players.
Right.
I think there's actually a lot more fire trauma than people necessarily discuss within the fire room. And I think having open conversations about that, and having conversations about the almost protective healing aspects that engaging in this kind of play can offer, really removes some of the stigma, or even some of the fears and the big emotional reactions we can see when someone's doing something that maybe is outside of our risk profile. Understanding and just having a collective understanding of there's probably another reason as to why this is going on, why this is coming up for that person. So yeah, I'm having brain thoughts pop off as you're chatting, but yes, very inspirational. So yes, thank you.
And you know,
That's okay.
and some of that being said, I do also, you know, push the edges a little bit, you know, and I do things that other people might see as outside the risk profile. I've seen some fire play videos that seem very small and very much in a smaller arena or container. Then I wonder, if this person sees I do, are they going to think, oh, that person's crazy, they shouldn't be doing that? I don't know. I think that just comes from the wide variety of fire play that I'm now discovering is out there. After listening to a few episodes of the podcast, I was just blown away at all the different forms of fire play, terminology in the world. It's really fascinating.
And I think there is really a lot of space to when we connect and when we allow those flames to connect just as a wider community, a lot of room for that kind of healing. But it's also very vulnerable. It is something that's very vulnerable and difficult to put out there for people to kind of judge or make snap judgments about, as we do with most kinds of more, I don't like the word taboo, but we'll say taboo, types of play, or more edgy based play. There is a significant amount of vulnerability. I really hope for both these podcasts and for the event itself to cultivate a more mindful space, like you were talking about, with more intention that accepts the vulnerability while still having a good basis for understanding and support, and keeping people within a reasonable risk profile, and using best practices where possible, and having some sort of understood and informed consent, because obviously that's critical, but having the understanding of, hey, this is something that I want to do, and it's not that this is bad, I have these steps. This is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm mitigating these risks. And this is how I'm looking after and being a responsible kinkster. And I think there's a lot of room for building that tolerance and respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen some photos of local fire players that have done some just what I would see as just crazy stuff, And, now then after a while of doing this, I'm like, that would just be doable. You got enough safeties around. You got maybe we can do something like that.
And a little bit of time after that, we're like, shoot.
We did a fireplace session at a music festival, and there were a lot of fire spinners and koi spinners out there in the big arena at this EDM music festival, and we were underneath what we call warm snuggles. It's a fire ceiling. It's a like a octagon shaped pipe structure with a big flat pan in the middle of it that hangs down, and the propane comes down under the pan and just kind of undulates, and it's really mesmerizing to look up at warm snuggles. It's usually got a giant cuddle puddle of people under it, and they're looking up at the flames. Well, we kind of cleared it out. We put the fireplace tables in there, and we did this whole fireplace session for people at the music festival, while a friend of mine flew a drone over the top of it and did this drone shoot and kind of came down into the space a little bit.
Pretty cool.
It was like herding cats getting this thing put together, but it was a lot of fun, and it was kind of our first public kind of a thing where it was outside of a party. It was outside of the normal places that people do fire, and people loved it. And I've had people contact me and want to be invited to fire nights, and we've developed relationships with that, and made good friends on people that just watched us play here and there.
I love it. So, tell me a little bit about some of the general precautions or risk mitigating methods that you use with fire play.
Well, our basic negotiations are pretty similar to a lot of other people's that I've heard. Lotions, perfumes, hairsprays, synthetic wigs. I had somebody on the table with a synthetic wig a few weeks ago, and I didn't know it until we were done. And I was like, man, I really should have known that this person had a synthetic wig, and I had never thought about that before. All the basic, are you well hydrated? Are you well rested? Things like that.
Fire trauma.
That are seem pretty standard now. Now that I've heard quite a few other people talk about their, risk mitigation, I think what we do is pretty on par with what people are doing, and I feel pretty good about it. We have the bucket of water, we've got a fire extinguisher, we've got spray bottles, wet towels. We always have a safety who is very well trained in safety. They're watching exactly everything that I'm not seeing when I'm doing a session. Watching for drips, watching for a wand that was a little too wet, or any of those things. When we do like butane bubbles, no open flames. We blow all the open flames out. And, because I've seen things go wrong on the table with butane bubbles, because people don't understand that butane is 2 times heavier than air, and it will go out of the bowl, it will go down, and it will spread across that table until it finds something, and it'll find an open flame and follow it all the way back to the bowl, light the whole bowl up. And, then you got a mess. And I've seen that happen with experienced fire players, with our teachers, as a matter of fact. I've seen that happen. And, so I've learned quite a bit of the things to watch out for. Really have a lot of points down about what we do for safety.
Yeah.
And what we do in a flow.
Right.
When we set
I
up,
have something to add to it.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning, so we had brought up when we have our intention setting, what we do is we all gather around the fire table down here. We have a tall ceiling. We have air circulation. We have hard floors, and we make sure that we don't have anything that's around that is fire that get caught on fire. We will grab and we will have everybody down here, and we'll all hold hands, and we will have, we'll just, we start off by just saying, hey, we really are so much appreciate you guys for being here and for trusting us to play fire on your bodies. to the partners. We're like, so grateful for you, to trust us with your love, right? We will do our very best. So then we also ask our guests to please be respectful. And this is all about playing fire, and we need to be safe. And so we don't want anybody. So we coach them not to come up at the table. We coach them to keep the chatter down for safety reasons, right? We also ask them to, they're supposed to be, so far away from our table. And most of everybody is actually up above watching from the railing up there. And so we have that intention setting. And we make sure that everybody is aware of what the fire safety is and what can happen if anything goes wrong. And so we feel like our guests and our fire bottom and our fire safety, and just we're all on the same page when it's time to play fire.
Mm-hmm. And I really like that. One of my all-time favorite presenters had at one point introduced me to the idea of the fact that the voyeur is always part of the scene. If there's someone watching, they are part of the scene. Now, that doesn't mean they get to walk in and do shit.
What I say.
But the voyeur is always part of the scene. To some degree.
It's a kink too. Watching is a kink too.
Right. And so either way, anyone who is watching is to some degree contributing energy to that scene and participating in one way or the other. So I really like that idea of setting expectations with people who are watching or who are nearby, and having that kind of like plan of this is how it's going to go. Because when shit goes wrong, now is not the time to be deciding on a plan of how to handle the shit that's going wrong.
When we realize it's our fault that it went wrong because we never did have that conversation.
Or, I think we started really punching home the, keep the chatter down to a minimum and really focused on what we're doing here. Because we had a night where there was just a lot of loud conversation. One point at the bottom was like, there's just a lot of loud conversation. They even had to say something. And we're like, okay, everybody calm down and quiet down a little bit and let us really focus on the distraction. Dangerous. Or any distraction.
Safety issue.
So we really punch home the focused intention on what we're doing here and have everybody pay attention.
We also are really big on photography.
So have you faced any other more like I like that addition. So can you tell me have you guys faced any other misconceptions or perhaps other challenges surrounding fire play, maybe from the kink community at large? Or it sounds like you've started to broach that line into the vanilla space as well. What have you faced there?
Well, there isn't a lot of openings to be able to do this in public settings. There are clubs that have, kink-related type parties and stuff like that, but a lot of them don't allow fire indoors. So we did a party recently where they didn't want to do fire indoors, but we set up a big arena outside, and we had a space for all the fire spinners, and we did some butane bubbles, a little bit of photography and stuff like that. But
I had to get the permit from the city, which was fine,
right?
But which is pretty cool because I really looked into. We got a chance to actually look into like all the molecules and really what white gas is made of, and
white gas and butane. All the things. So that was kind of a neat exercise stuff. There really isn't much of a way to break this out more into the mainstream. We'll either do our private fire play gatherings, or we'll go to a place here locally called Warehouse, which they have a club that they have a designated space for all the different kinks. For rope suspension, for and so that's really the only real public outlet that there is here is going to kink parties.
But there's always solutions. I'm just going to jump in here. So I am getting people that are coming up to me and they're like, gosh, we really like you to play fire, at our venue. And I say, well, is it okay if we're naked? Oh, I don't think so. I'll have to check. And so we are going further than that. We're making some panther felt bikini tops to cover, the nipples, and then just enough to cover the private areas. that way we can use our pictures on Facebook, on the different social medias that we're blocked from, but also it's less taboo, right? And also it's just the clothes being off thing is the most, the nakedness is our most like, because we have events here and we'll do a fire scene and people are walking by like this, right? Because they don't be watching. But if we have a little bit on, I like to, when I'm presenting, I like to have just a little bikini on. And so we are going to start making bikinis that are fire resistant and that our bottoms can wear if they need to, if they want to. So it's something that's kind of down the pipeline.
Yeah, kind of experimenting with that and finding out, how safe that is. And I understand a lot of people do fire in cotton bikinis or, all natural fabric kind of things. I bought a big sheet of the panther felt that we make our wands out of to see how that goes. I don't know. We're going to try it and see.
Hey.
I don't know if anybody's done this before or not.
It's going to go good.
Yeah.
For science. For science.
Yeah, for science. Absolutely.
Yeah. But it opens up so much potential to do at anywhere, really.
Yeah, it's funny how much a couple of triangles and a piece of string can change everything.
Yep, for sure. I know, so much different.
I can post my picture on Facebook, yes. But that's where it's fun to be able to do that though, because then we're making people aware of this that would never know what it is. And there are so many people that are just so interested and so intrigued.
And I think that contributes to reducing the stigma of things, going, we do this naked, but it's not really about being naked. And that's mostly for safety.
Yeah.
And for the sensuality and the erotic art and all of the things.
And also getting the whole fire on the nipple and the slap the flare out. That's my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So what kind of advice do you have for folks who are just jumping into fire, just kind of maybe our newborn firebugs out there?
Definitely seek out somebody more knowledgeable than you are. I've had a lot of people, ask me online, "Oh, how do I do this? How do I do this?" And I'll tell you what I'm doing, but that doesn't mean you should go try it at home. And a lot of people that finding a mentor or finding a teacher isn't necessarily an easy option. Like you said, you're pretty isolated. There's not a lot of people around you that do fire. It's really not that easy. And I really don't know. I don't know how I could have ever learned this if there wasn't a fire community and people available right there to teach.
Also being able to be partnerships on it. I don't mean to interrupt you, but him and I coming in this together, we were able to add to each other's fire on this.
Right.
We're able to feed off of each other and be a team and practice together and just continue to do this together and feed off of each other.
And generate that momentum of people. I would say don't try this at home. I really don't know what I would tell new people if they don't have a teacher available. Yeah. I don't know. I would find somebody more experienced. I would attend the Rain of Fire event and learn as much as you can before ever attempting anything like this. And maybe that's enough. I don't know.
Well, what do you think? I would encourage anybody to maybe, and to message Trip and I, Aftermoondelight on that live for Triptolemus. We are happy to answer questions. Anybody? We might not know the answer. I'm really good at saying I really don't know.
I can find that. I can definitely find it.
Here, let me Google it for you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely not at a point where I would want to teach new people. I have had quite a few people approach me that have learned the basics and they can do a little bit of fire and they want to learn and improve their skills. And that may be where I find a comfortable space of actually being able to teach people is people that are already kind of know the basics. Mm-hmm. I don't feel confident in teaching brand new people. I do feel confident in helping people improve their skills.
It's okay. I'm also not typically a brand new newbie instructor either. Miss Kitten and Maddox the Dark are always forever going, Ember, slow it down.
Yeah.
Baby bites. Baby bites. I'm like, I can't do baby bites. It's impossible.
Right.
It's
Totally.
like pulling teeth, and I don't have a dental kink.
Is that a thing?
It is.
I don't know. It must be. It probably is. I never heard of ballooning or looning until last week, and I'm fascinated. I had no idea that was a thing.
Yep. There's a lot of different kinks out there. Yeah, dental kink and dental play kink is a big thing.
Jeez, I really was kidding. I didn't think that was really a thing.
No, it's a legitimate thing. It's a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
It is not
I'm
a
going
kink
down a rabbit hole tonight. I swear to God.
Now, whenever you ask any advice, are you asking just like in general on the whole, if we were to give it anybody news? Okay. So, I have some advice. There's one thing that I really love that we do. So when we first started, playing fire and other people, and we'd have them come to our home, to Moontower Studios, I would leave and I would go outside and I'd take like 10, 15 minutes and I just like ground my own. And then I'm feeling and I'm thinking about our bottoms in the other room back there. And I'm thinking, wow, I wonder how they're feeling right now. I'm like, wow, I really need to be with them. Okay, so now we have this before care that we really need to make sure that we are very intentional on, because we're experienced fire. They don't know how experienced we are. All they know is that they trust us with their bodies and with, with their safety. And so we've made this, this change where it's like, sure, we can have our own before. We have that, those moments beforehand where we're really connecting with our bottoms. But my advice would be is to make sure that we really are like, you take some deep breaths and you do that with your bottoms. And we have this time to just connect and love each other, because it's beautiful. And, our bottoms are, and also another advice is the bottoms is the star of the show, right? And so our, intention is, really just to obviously, make it beautiful and look good and safe and all that. But our bottoms are extremely important. We're so grateful for them. And they really are the center of attention. And so, I think that might make it even safer, even sexier, most, more, entertaining, venue and space for that. So.
Love it. So how do you guys see the future of fire play developing, maybe in your local community, for you guys yourselves? What does the next chapter look like?
Well, we have purchased the fireplaytriplex.com name, and we're hoping to put out a lot more content of fire play. There's not a lot out there. I started a YouTube channel, which was promptly removed and deleted my entire account a few days later. I got a few warnings first, and I was like kind of pushing the edges. Okay, what's YouTube going to let me get away with? And pretty soon they just deleted my whole account, shut it down. And I've looked up, and there's just not a lot of really good fire play education. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of really good fire play videos, pictures, compared to a lot of the other kink genres. There's just not a lot out there. And so we really, we did an experiment one night where we hung a 360-degree camera from the ceiling fan above the tables. And we filmed the entire session, where on the other end of the session, people can mouse around the whole room. They can zoom in. They can be a fly on the wall for the whole experience. And we had 2 tables going. And the whole thing is really beautiful. It's a giant file. And of course, YouTube is not going to allow it. But so we were purchasing our own, website, and we're going to get fireplaytriplex.com launched, hopefully fairly soon, and try to get some more education. We want to have harm reduction. We want to have, if it develops into something that could be virtual classes, great. That could be awesome. Mm-hmm. I know that there's huge liabilities with that, and some hoops to jump through, and we're not, starry-eyed and thinking this is going to be easy. But I think it starts with, letting people know that this is a thing. Because there are so many people I come across that don't even know this even exists. Mm-hmm. And they're just blown away when I show them a video of what I do on an average Thursday or Saturday night. And so I think really bringing it a little more into the mainstream and, reducing the stigma, the taboo, showing that it's very sensual, erotic art form and that it's not really about sex at all.
Yeah. It's even performing. It's a performing art.
It is really, just like flow arts and fire troops and dance troops and all these different things. This is a beautiful art form that we're proud of, and we're not in any way. We love to promote it. And we'd like to, I've got a Fansly account where, I've got quite a few videos up there trying to kind of get that going. Unfortunately, OnlyFans says that it's illegal activity. They remove every video I try and post. No fire play on Fansly or on OnlyFans. Sorry. Fansly is great.
Yeah.
OnlyFans, not so much.
Like we're just going to get our own website then.
So let's start our own thing.
Yeah.
It's okay. We have for Reign of Blood a diamond lopus, which is lots of big ass sharps. So it's over 50, like 12 gig. Miss K.
Oh, they're freezing up on us.
Looks like
they've lost it. Oh, there you go.
There we go. I'm back. It looks like there's some storms outside. But
So you had 50 of something? Uh-oh.
Miss K did a CBT diamond lopus. So we have a bleeding dick on YouTube.
Oh.
And that was not censored.
Wow.
However, one video with nipples from Baspy and Mayamir was enough to break YouTube. So
Oh my God.
we have a bleeding dick and they're okay
No,
with that,
no.
but the nipples are taboo.
I want to see that video.
I've seen a lot more offensive things on YouTube
On
than
there.
anything I put on there. Definitely. Yeah. So I think there's like you said, the reducing the stigma. I think that's a huge way that we can try to do that. And putting some fireproof clothing on for some more mainstreamy kind of little demos and clips might help with that.
We're going to do a lot of different things. It's like really, the money is not necessarily an issue, but we have to pick our battles. But we're getting new equipment, new ideas. We want to do some VR stuff, with Fireplay too, so that fans and watchers the voyeurs can be there without being there. So
I loved it.
that's pretty cool, right?
That's amazing. Thank you both so much for taking the time to sit and chat with me this evening. This has been quite delightful. After moon or not.
Afternoon delightful. Afternoon delightful. That's what I've heard.
So
thank you.
I think
it's an honor
we'll go
to be
ahead and. So sorry.
Oh, I just said it's an honor to be a part of this, and we really appreciate all the help and support and the reaching out to to me to be a presenter in this. I'm super excited and really honored.
Thank you so much. Well, we will go ahead and listeners, again, you can reach them at Aftermoondelight and Triptolemus 713.
Yes.
On FetLife. If you have any questions in between now and then, and we're looking forward to having them for Reign of Fire. We will see you all on our next episode.
Thank you so much.